Welcome to the weekend betting preview here for Tungsten Tails and Seconds Out. My name is Nigel Sealing. We're going to start in the Premier League, and the first game we're going to look at is Saturday's early kickoff on BT Sports between Newcastle and Liverpool. Newcastle rejuvenated them recently under Alan Pardew, 3 straight wins, only lost once in their last 7 games. Against the Liverpool side, only 3 wins in their last 9. Lucky wins as well against Swansea and QPR, but yet it's the visitors who are odds-on favourites to win this. Liverpool are 19-20 with the home side 13-5, and the draw available at 11-4. I think this is too big for about Newcastle. I think Liverpool are far too short and shouldn't be odds on at the moment the way they are playing. One thing you've got to recommend here is goals. 34 goals in the last 8 fixtures between these two sides. 6-0 wins for Liverpool in recent years and 5-1 wins for Liverpool in recent seasons. But I think that bubble will burst, and I think the home side are definitely the value here at 13-5. Bearing in mind Liverpool have a tough match away in Real Madrid in midweek in the Champions League. They've got one eye on that, and I think Newcastle can capitalise on that fact, and I think at their prices they are the only bet. The Saturday 3 o'clock game starts at the Emirates. 2-7 Arsenal to beat a Burnley side at 9-1, 9-2 the draw. Arsenal will win. It's a simple question how many they're going to win by. Burnley 66-1 now with bookies to not win this season. I think that's a big price. They're absolutely all over the place against Everton last time out, losing 3-1. I think they're already down, and I think they're going to go to Arsenal and get battered. I like Arsenal to win to nil, 2-0, 3-0, maybe even a 4-0, but it's going to be an Arsenal win for sure. They've only lost 1 game all season against Chelsea. They're certainly not going to lose against Burnley. Chelsea, champions-elect, looking absolutely flying at the top of the table. Drew with Manchester United, a last-gasp equaliser, and one team they want to come back and win well against their West London rivals, Queen's Park Rangers. They're 2-13 to beat QPR at Stamford Bridge. They never lose at Stamford Bridge. They did lose, however, this fixture 1-0. You can get 16-1 about a Queen's Park Rangers win. Basically, if you know nothing about betting, £10 on QPR to win at 16-1 means you lose 10 quid. 13-2 about the draw. QPR aren't going to win this. Chelsea to win to nil could be my recommendation. Everton play Swansea. Roberto Martinez, former manager at Swansea, is taking his Everton side back there. And one thing I fancy is goals. Wilfred Boney up front for Swansea and Lukaku up front for Everton means one thing, both teams to score. If you want to bet on the game, Everton are 3-4 to win the match. Swansea are 7-2 and the draw is 11-4. And I think the draw, maybe some appeal here, maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw, but I do think there'd be goals. One place I don't think there'll be very goals is at Hull, the KC Stadium. Hull entertained Southampton, obviously flying under Ronald Koeman into 2nd place in the Premier League table. But Hull is a very tough place to go. They've drawn their last 2 games at the Emirates and at Anfield, and I think they will frustrate this Southampton side. And I think the draw here at 12-5 is tremendous value. So I'm going for the draw there. Hull are 13-5 to win the game. Southampton are 21-20, and maybe a small bet on no goal scorer at a decent price. You might get 10-1 for your money. I don't think many goals will be there, and I think at 10-1 there's a lot worse bets in the Premier League this weekend. One place I do think will be goals at the King Power, Leicester against West Bromwich Albion. Leicester are 5-4, West Brom 21-10, and the draw 12-5. West Brom were dumped out of the Capital One Cup in midweek, and I think they'll come back here fighting. I think both teams will score. Berahino and Ulloa for Leicester have both got goals in them, and I think both teams to score is the best way to play on what potentially looks one of the hardest matches to call in the Premier League this weekend. Final 3 o'clock kick-off is Stoke against West Ham. Stoke are 13-10 to win this game. West Ham 21-10, and the draw at 23-10. I think Stoke are a little bit undervalued by the bookies here. I like 13-10 about the home side. West Ham have been absolutely flying. A totally different team under Sam Allardyce this season. Lots of goals in them, but lots of goals at home. Away from home, I think this will be a tough ask, and I'm going for Stoke to win this, probably by a 1-0 score margin, which is decent value at around about 8-1. Okay, moving on to Sunday, and the biggest game of the Premier League this weekend is without doubt the 1:30 kick-off, Manchester City against Manchester United. 3 weeks ago, you would have turned around and said Manchester City were the bankers of the weekend coupon at 17-20. Not the case now. Man United at 14-5 could be the value. They've only lost once in their last 7 games. Manchester City haven't won in their last 3. In fact, they've lost 2 and only drawn 1. They have a massive Champions League game in midweek against Moscow. One eye on that. I think Man United here are tremendous value. One thing I do expect is goals goals. Both teams to score is short, but it will happen. If you look at last season, it was 4-1 to Manchester City. The season before was 3-2 to Manchester United. I do like over 2.5 goals. I do like over 3.5 goals, but I do think both teams to score is one of the best bets on the Premier League on Super Sunday. At 4 o'clock, Aston Villa take on Tottenham. Aston Villa haven't scored in their last 5 Premier League games, and they face a Tottenham side who they played twice last season at Villa Park and lost 4-0 and 2-0. Last season was them 2 results. The season before was 4-0. So in the last 3 matches, it's been 0-10 to Tottenham. I fancy Tottenham to win this, and at 5-2, I couldn't get stuck into the home side. I do like the 21-20 about a Tottenham side, but this is a Tottenham side that are struggling. They haven't won in their last 7. They've only won once in their last 7 Premier League matches. But you've got to go back to 2008, the last time Aston Villa won this fixture, and I think that goal glut could continue. I fancy Tottenham to win to 0 here. At the Monday Night Football, Crystal Palace take on Sunderland. Crystal Palace with many bankers in the Premier League this weekend. They've only won once in their last 5 matches. A lot of draws in that period. They drew 2-2 with West Brom last week, but Sunderland on a terrible one. Their last 4 games, they've only scored 1 goal and let in 13, including famously the 8-0 defeat by Southampton. At 23-10, I think that a lot of people will put down Crystal Palace as home bankers here, and I think that's the way you want to be going. 23-10 about the visitors and 12-5 about the draw. Last season it was 3-1 to Crystal Palace, and I think they'll win convincingly again this weekend. So just to recap, my best bets in the Premier League, both teams to score: Man City, Man United. I do like Crystal Palace on the Monday Night Football to beat Sunderland, and I fancy Liverpool to get beat by a Newcastle side absolutely flying under Alan Pardew. Okay, moving sports now onto boxing. A big fight. It's the Samoan heavyweight Alex Lupia. 30 wins, 5 losses, 3 draws. He takes on American Malik Scott with a record of 36 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw in the Logan Metro Sports Centre in Queensland, Australia. This is a real tough match for bookmakers and punters. The bookers make Lupia 4-5 to win the fight. Scott is even money, and the draw is a 22-1 shot. I don't think this is going to go very far. I think one of these two could knock each other out. On the independent rankings, Lupia is ranked above Scott. His last 5 out, he stopped Scott 3 fights ago, and Chisora stopped him controversial in 6 rounds. So it's a big fight for both boxers to get their careers back on track, and the bookies can hardly split them. I can't either. You pay your money, you take your choice. Darts this weekend, we move to the Unibet Masters in Edinburgh from the Royal Highland Centre. All 2 days covered live on ITV. Phil Taylor, no surprise, is defending champion. He's 11-4 to defend his title, but the man in form is Michael van Gerwen. He won last week. He's 7-4 to win this tournament. He looks in a different level at the moment to everybody else on the PDC circuit. He's 7-4 to win the title. 3rd in succession in PDC events. Phil Taylor 11-4, James Wade 10-1, Anderson 10-1, who will be very popular, I think, the Scotsman in front of his home support, and 12-1 Adrian Lewis. I think they are the famous 5, the big 5 at the top of the rankings, and I don't think anyone else can really put a challenge onto them. In the matches though, Michael van Gerwen starts off with a tough one against Raymond van Varneveld. He's 2-7 to win that. Van Varneveld is 11-4. Phil Taylor has an easier task against Wes Newton, 1-7 Phil Taylor, 9-2 Wes Newton. That's the weekend review and the preview of all the big sporting events. Like I say, have a bet on the football. I think there's some great value there, and on the darts, you simply cannot top Michael van Gerwen. But Gary Anderson 10-1 could be a good each way alternative. See you all same time, same place next week.